My name is Gabrielle, and I lived in a small remote village tucked away within the verdant rainforest of Colombia. Our village was a place where time seemed to stand still, and the outside world felt distant and almost inconsequential. We coexisted with the untamed jungle, which provided us with everything we needed to survive, including food, water, and the materials to construct our modest homes. However, despite our idyllic surroundings, the peace and tranquility we enjoyed were about to be shattered by a sinister force. The love of my life was my beautiful wife, Isabella, a kind-hearted woman with a captivating spirit. She had a smile that could brighten even the darkest of days, and her laughter was contagious, filling our home with warmth and joy. We had been married for several years and were inseparable, our love for each other only growing stronger with each passing day. On a fateful summer morning, the sun had barely risen above the horizon, and the village was still shrouded in the soft orange glow of the early light. I awoke from a fitful sleep, my dreams haunted by unsettling images that seemed to linger just beyond the edges of my memory. As I rubbed the sleep from my eyes, I reached out to Isabella, expecting to find her lying beside me, but she was not there. Confusion turned to concern as I called out her name, the sound of my voice echoing through the empty rooms of our home. There was no response, and a cold knot of fear began to form in the pit of my stomach. I dressed quickly, my thoughts racing as I tried to imagine where she could have gone. Isabella was not one to wander off without reason, especially not so early in the morning. I stepped outside into the cool air, my breath visible in the dim light. The village was still, most of its inhabitants still sound asleep in their beds. Desperate to find my beloved wife, I searched the area surrounding our home, hoping to find some clue as to her whereabouts. That was when I noticed the strange tracks in the mud, a series of large, misshapen footprints that seemed to defy explanation. The footprints appeared to be neither human nor animal, and I couldn't help but feel a shiver run down my spine as I studied them. They were deep and well-defined, as if whatever had made them was incredibly heavy. The tracks were also marked by long, curved claw marks that gouged the earth, suggesting a creature of considerable size and strength. A sense of unease grew within me, and I couldn't shake the feeling that these mysterious footprints were somehow connected to Isabella's disappearance. With a growing sense of dread, I decided to follow the tracks, which led me deeper and deeper into the jungle. The air was heavy with humidity, and the dense canopy of leaves above me filtered the sunlight, casting the forest floor in a perpetual state of twilight. The sounds of the rainforest, normally a comforting symphony of life and activity, now seemed eerie and disconcerting, as if the very jungle itself was whispering a warning that I was venturing into unknown and dangerous territory. But I couldn't abandon my search for Isabella, and I pressed on, driven by a potent mixture of love and fear. I knew that every step I took brought me further from the safety of my home, but I couldn't bear the thought of losing Isabella to whatever sinister force had left those monstrous tracks. The sun had risen higher in the sky by the time I reached a small, overgrown clearing deep within the jungle. The tracks abruptly stopped at the edge of the clearing, and my heart pounded in my chest as I scanned the area for any sign of Isabella. I could feel the oppressive weight of the jungle pressing in on me from all sides, as if it were a living entity that sought to suffocate me with its embrace. My breath caught in my throat as I spotted a flash of white in the undergrowth. It was Isabella's dress, torn and bloodied, a stark contrast to the vibrant greens and browns of the jungle. And there, in the center of the clearing, lay the lifeless body of my beloved wife, her once radiant beauty now marred by deep gashes and scratches. My heart shattered as I cradled her in my arms, tears streaming down my face as I struggled to comprehend the horror of what had happened to her. The cacophony of the jungle ceased, as if every living creature held its breath in anticipation of some terrible event. The hairs on the back of my neck stood on end as I felt the presence of something sinister and malevolent drawing near, an unseen force that seemed to emanate from the very heart of the rainforest. A guttural growl echoed through the trees, sending a shudder of terror down my spine. From the shadows of the dense foliage emerged a monstrous beast, the likes of which I'd never seen before. The creature was massive, standing on two legs like a man, but twisted and grotesque in form. Its powerful, muscular arms ended in long, razor-sharp claws, and its body was covered in thick, mottled fur that seemed to blend seamlessly with the shadows. Its eyes were a piercing, unnatural shade of yellow, filled with a cold, predatory hunger that chilled me to my core. The beast's snout was elongated, filled with rows of jagged, blood-stained teeth that gleamed menacingly in the filtered sunlight. As it stepped into the clearing, it was clear that this monstrosity was the source of the tracks I had followed, and it was responsible for the brutal death of my beloved Isabella. In that moment, I knew that I had to act quickly if I wanted to survive this encounter with the beast. Ignoring the crippling fear that threatened to paralyze me, I grabbed a nearby branch, its rough bark digging into my palms as I swung it at the creature. The makeshift weapon narrowly missed its grotesque snout, but it was enough to momentarily startle the beast, giving me a precious window of opportunity to make my escape. I sprinted through the jungle, my heart pounding in my ears as the monstrous creature pursued me with a terrifying speed and ferocity. The dense foliage tore at my clothes and scratched my skin, but I refused to slow down or look back, knowing that doing so would mean certain death. My lungs burned from the exertion, and my legs felt like they were made of lead. But I continued to run, driven by the primal instinct to survive. As I neared the edge of the jungle, I could hear the beast's heavy breathing and thundering footsteps close behind me. Its guttural growls and snarls filled the air, a chilling reminder of the deadly predator that was mere moments away from catching its prey. With one final burst of energy, I emerged from the rainforest and stumbled into the village, collapsing at the feet of my fellow villagers, my breath coming in ragged, desperate gasps. The beast, unwilling to pursue me further, halted at the edge of the jungle. Its blood-curdling howl echoed through the air, a haunting reminder of the horror that lurked within the shadows of the rainforest. From that day on, my life in the village was forever changed. The mysterious beast that had taken Isabella from me was a constant source of fear, a dark presence that haunted the edges of our world. The villagers began to refer to the creature as El Guardian, believing it to be an ancient guardian of the rainforest that had awakened to protect its domain from the encroachment of man. We lived in the knowledge that the rainforest concealed a malevolent force, a monstrous creature that served as a grim reminder of the delicate balance between man and nature. The once comforting sounds of the jungle now held an undercurrent of menace, and every rustle of leaves or snap of a twig sent a shiver of apprehension down our spines. As the weeks and months passed, the villagers grew more and more fearful of venturing into the rainforest. The once thriving trade with neighboring communities dwindled, and our village became increasingly isolated. Those who dared to venture into the jungle rarely returned, their fates sealed by the relentless pursuit of El Guardian. I could not forget the face of the beast that had torn my beloved wife from me, and I vowed that I would not rest until I had avenged her death. I spent countless hours researching the legends and folklore of the regions, seeking any clue that might reveal the true nature of the creature that haunted our village. I spoke with shamans and elders from neighboring tribes, piecing together a tapestry of stories that spanned generations, each tale more chilling and inexplicable than the last. As the years wore on, my obsession with El Guardian grew, consuming my every thought and driving me to the brink of madness. I became a recluse, my once vibrant spirit replaced with a single-minded determination to uncover the truth behind the monstrous beast that stalked the rainforest. Over time, the tale of El Guardian and the tragic fate of our village spread far and wide, attracting the attention of curious outsiders. Among them were a group of intrepid researchers and explorers, fascinated by the legend surrounding the mysterious creature that haunted the rainforest. Determined to uncover the truth behind the stories, they ventured into the depths of the jungle, armed with little more than their wits and their unyielding determination. Despite the ever-present danger that loomed over our village, I couldn't help but feel a glimmer of hope when I heard of their arrival. Perhaps these outsiders would finally succeed in unraveling the enigma of El Guardian, bringing an end to the curse that had plagued our people for so long. Desperate for answers, I sought out the leader of the group, a charismatic and fearless woman named Sophia, offering my assistance and sharing the knowledge I had gathered over the years. Together, we delved into the heart of the rainforest, retracing the steps I had taken years earlier in pursuit of the beast that had taken Isabella from me. The jungle had grown even more treacherous and inhospitable since that fateful day, as if it were actively trying to deter us from discovering its secrets. Our journey had led us to a place where the line between myth and reality was blurred, and we found ourselves standing at the precipice of an abyss from which there would be no return. In the heart of the jungle, we finally came face to face with El Guardian once more. The beast was even more terrifying than I remembered, its monstrous form radiating an aura of malice and power that seemed to defy comprehension. The air around us crackled with palpable energy, as if the very fabric of reality was straining under the weight of the ancient force that lay before us. Despite the overwhelming sense of dread that gripped us all, Sophia and her team remained determined to learn more about the mysterious creature that haunted the rainforest. They attempted to communicate with El Guardian, using every means at their disposal, from ancient rituals and offerings to advanced technology designed to bridge the gap between worlds. But their efforts were met with silence, as the beast regarded us with an inscrutable gaze that seemed to bore into the very depths of our souls. Suddenly, without warning, El Guardian lashed out, its massive form moving with a speed and agility that belied its monstrous size. The air was filled with the screams of the researchers as the beast tore through their ranks, its claws and teeth rending flesh and bone with ruthless efficiency. In the chaos of the attack, I was thrown to the ground, the wind knocked from my lungs as I struggled to comprehend the carnage unfolding before me. As quickly as it had begun, the onslaught ceased, leaving me alone in the devastated clearing, surrounded by the broken bodies of my comrades. The beast had vanished back into the shadows of the jungle, leaving only death and destruction in its wake. As I stared at the carnage around me, my mind reeled, struggling to understand why I had been spared once more, when all those who had stood beside me had been struck down. The realization that I had survived not one but two encounters with the terrifying force that was El Guardian left me shattered, my psyche fractured by the enormity of the burden I now carried. I was the sole witness to the terrible power of the beast, a testament to the brutal and unfathomable will of the ancient guardian that haunted the rainforest. Overwhelmed by grief and guilt, I stumbled back to the village, my mind a whirlwind of confusion and despair. The people I had led into the heart of the jungle had paid the ultimate price for their curiosity, their lives snuffed out in an instant by a force that seemed beyond the comprehension of mortal man. And yet I had been spared once more, left to bear the weight of my actions and the knowledge that I had failed to protect those who had placed their trust in me. In my darkest moments, I would find myself questioning why I had been spared when so many others had perished, seeking any semblance of meaning or understanding in the face of such overwhelming devastation. And in the depths of my despair, I began to realize that perhaps my survival was not a matter of chance, but rather a cruel twist of fate, a punishment for my own hubris and obsession. As the weight of this realization bore down upon me, I found myself struggling to come to terms with the terrible truth that had been revealed. I was a living testament to the power and fury of El Guardian, a survivor left to wander the world with the knowledge of the horrors that lay hidden in the shadows of the rainforest.